Howdy, brothers.
Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Water.
Squishky and Schwatter.
I'm your co-host, Liv.
I'm your co-host, Jess.
And this is a podcast about female entrepreneurship and women in business.
Not that we know anything about that. Just kidding. Today, we're actually going to be taking you guys on a little journey of the ups and downs that we have kind of learned of running your own business, and also like just surprises that we've encountered along the way that we couldn't have ever anticipated. Yeah.
Okay, fuck off. But yeah, so when we rebranded about a year and a half ago now, we really had the intention to start our agency. That's exactly when we launched too. So both things happened simultaneously. We launched our creative agency, and we also rebranded the podcast to focus more on entrepreneurship and the struggles that come along with that. And, you know, of course, the joys, like we celebrate that too all the time. Mm-hmm. But we wanted to be just super transparent with you guys and bring you along for this journey, not saying like, oh, we're top entrepreneurs and we know everything and we're here to teach you how, but more like, oh my God, we're struggling with this. How are we going to get through it? And then the next week being like, we got through it and tell you guys how. So we thought like this episode would be good to kind of just show you guys and share with you the best parts of being a business owner, the worst parts,
the highs and the lows.
Yeah, the worst parts, the hardest parts of being a business owner. And like what Jess said, the things that we were like, wow, this is crazy.
Could have never expected that.
I did not think this would be the way it is.
Yeah. And I feel like, again, it's just about being transparent and kind of giving you guys insight on like what it truly is like on the other side, because it's like, I feel like when you see all these successful people, you don't necessarily see the shit that they had to fucking swim through to get there. Totally. So we just want to be uber transparent per usual.
You just see the tip of the iceberg. You don't see the part that's underneath. You know that graphic where it's like
what cheesy graphic
what
that
people see what success looks like
billionaire success reposted type shit.
Yeah, but it's true. Like you don't ever see the hardships that people went through and the struggles that, you know, they had to endure to get there. But before we get into that, we are going to do our segments. We'll do a little bit of catch up to catch the brothers up on the latest and greatest in our personal lives. And then we'll do like a little high and low. And of course, our deep dive, which is a segment where we go into a partnership or collaboration, a campaign, and we share with you guys all the juicy details of it.
Yes. And I don't know, I feel like we have a little good amount to catch up on because sometimes we do doubles, and so we don't have like as much to catch up on, but then it gives us like a lot of material for the next week. Yeah. So let's do a little update on what we've been doing.
Little squirt. I mean,
catch up.
Gotta catch up. Okay. So for me, I've been sick the past week. I mean,
she was sick girl.
I was very sick. But before I got sick, I was doing a Disney commercial. It was amazing. I did an overnight commercial. I actually vlogged the whole thing on TikTok. I did little mini like daily vlogs if you want to check it out there. Olivia P. Wong. And other than that, I got home. I was actually supposed to go straight from Orlando to the Keys.
Key West.
To Key West. And then homegirl was driving home and not feeling too hot.
She's homegirl.
I'm homegirl. Homegirl is me. So I spent like the next 2 days in bed just resting up, but I am sad that I missed the Key West trip because I was really looking forward to it. I'm feeling slightly better now. Definitely still sick. But things are looking up.
Yeah, so glad that you're feeling better.
Me too.
You were sorely missed in Key West, but
sad.
We had a great time and we did what we needed to do there, and it was
fun.
Good. It was good. We went because it was our friend.
Spirit.
You were there in spirit. There were so many streets named Olivia Street. I mean, it was one street, but we passed it many times.
Period.
So she was there in spirit. And yeah, it was just a great time. We went there because it was our friend Truman's dad's death anniversary, 10-year death anniversary. So we had some of his ashes and we spread them throughout the Keys because he used to live there and he built a lot of the Keys back in like the 70s. Aww. So very fun time. We like celebrated his life in his honor, and it was just a great time and had so much fun.
If you guys have been around and you know that we went to the Bahamas a few weeks ago with our friend Truman, and that's who I was supposed to go to the Keys with, but that's who Jess went with.
Yes.
Truman, our dear friend.
And he's moving back to LA. So we are very sad about that, but it gives us all the more reason to visit LA.
Okay, give me a catch up, squirt on what's new and fun in your life. What's fun, flirty, fresh?
So went to the Keys, obviously. And honestly, it was just such a great time. Like, I love the Keys. I just feel like it's a lawless place. It's so casual. Like, I love that you like don't have to wear anything
anywhere,
anything or anything nice. Like, you can really just pull up in whatever the fuck you want. And that's such a liberating feeling when you're so used to being in like a major metropolitan city and everyone's fucking flashy.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that it's
low key.
It's low key and it's just people getting fucked up.
Like, this is my place.
It was so much fun, and we just.
You're like, I resonate with this.
I resonate with this. This is a great time for me.
You're not a minority. You're the majority.
I'm the majority, and yeah, I mean, I almost got into one fight.
I belong.
And honestly, it really made me want to look into property in the Keys because one, those Airbnbs are making bank and we had like a little like low-key shitty condo, like not shitty, it was nice, but like not nice,
not like luxury,
but it was like solid, and they made like $2,000 off of us for like the 4 nights or something. Like, it's like Airbnbs down there are going for a pretty penny. And I think I might actually want to go for my birthday, like rent a nice house. So just a really, really great time. I almost fought someone. It was brief. She started it.
Of course she did.
I ended it, guys, and it was so stupid. So I brought my knife out that night because I was like, God forbid, I don't know what happens in Key West. Like, what if there's crazies out here? And there are. Like, Key West, again, is a lawless place. Like, there's like weird people there. So I brought my knife with me. And I was just on one. I was like, oh, she better watch out. I was just like telling everyone, like, watch out. I got my knife on me. Like, I need to not bring that back out again because she was a dangerous girl.
Very silly.
Very silly.
Silly, quirky, goofy girl.
Goofy.
So you got in a knife fight?
No,
like,
no.
What happened?
No, it was just funny.
You're going to leave us hanging?
Oh, no. I ended that shit. I was like, I'm not fighting you.
Oh, okay. I thought this was like a cliffhanger. And then I like flashed my knife at her and then she was like, what, bitch, you want to fight? And then you guys like
No,
fought.
I was just on one. Because like in my head, I was like, I could kill her right now. I'm kidding. No.
Okay.
It was just funny because Truman was like, I know you have that knife on you. You better fucking be careful. And I was like, I'm being careful. No,
she's just being extra.
It was
ballsy.
it was some stupid girl who like, I was in the bathroom and you know I pee fast. I do everything in the bathroom fast. And I was in there for like 30 seconds and she's like shaking the doorknob and I was like, oh, excuse me, like I'm in here. Just give me a second. And I walk out and she had shaken the doorknob like multiple times after that. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? So I walk out and I was like, hey, like obviously we're running into each other. And I'm like, sorry, babe, I was peeing. She's like, well, I had to fucking piss. And I was like, whoa. Great for you. Like you can hold on a fucking quick minute. And I was like, and she like, whatever. She fucking came at me with this ass. I said something like, well, I peed as fucking fast as I could. And I'm like walking away. Like I'm not trying to like, I'm not sitting here and having a conversation. Right. And she's like, the fuck did you say, bitch? And she's like this little white girl. And I'm like,
oh no.
I'm like, you're punching out of your league here, sister.
She said, meet me outside.
No, she like, and my friend was like, behind me. So he kind of was like, go and use the bathroom. Cause I'm like, you had to pee so bad. Why are you trying to fight me outside of the bathroom?
That's hilarious.
And what were the words stupid bitch exchanged? Maybe. On my behalf.
Yeah,
so,
but she started it.
She did.
That's fighting words.
Yeah, crazy. So yeah, that was the only little altercation that happened.
Gotcha. Very, very whiskey of you.
Yeah.
Did we ever tell you guys about that time we almost got caught in a brawl in Nashville? Okay, I'm going to keep this really short because I don't want to go on a tangent. But Jess and I were walking out of the bathroom in a Nashville like club/bar. When I tell you, it like slow motion, we missed a punch like
between us
3 inches in front of like we were walking. I was a little
like
bit
holding hands,
a little bit ahead of Jess. Yeah, and between the two of us in a split second, there's a hand going straight between us. Our life flashed before our eyes. With Jess fucking ducked the arm, and then I literally just pulled her out.
We're holding hands. I duck. She pulls. I go under the arm.
We're just like, what the fuck? And I just grab her arm and yank it, then we look at each other. We're like, what just happened?
We narrowly missed,
and then we just like hear a brawl behind us.
We're like, let's get the fuck out of here.
It was crazy. Okay. Anyways, enough about bathroom fights and clubs and bars. Let's do our high and low. My low is that I was fucking sick. That sucked.
You were so sick.
My high is that I had a call with a wedding venue today.
Yay!
And even the thought of it, like this place, I don't want to get my hopes up because I think it's going to be really expensive. But like, even just like the thought of it and the looks of it and talking to them, like gave me butterflies, which I haven't felt yet about my wedding. So that's really exciting for me.
Did you say that you found the wedding? Did you say that you found the wedding venue on TikTok?
I found it on TikTok.
Yeah, so that's
a video
super cool.
of theirs went viral, and I was like, "Wow, that's so pretty." And the more I looked into it, the more I was like, it was checking boxes of things that I've been looking for because I don't really know what I want, but when I see what I like, I know I like it, and then I'm like, okay, that's what I want.
This is a common theme for us recently.
Yeah, I don't know what I want
with the rebrand, with the wedding.
I don't know what I want, but when I see it, I know I want it.
Yeah. So,
what's your low?
Love that for you,
and
brother.
your high?
So my low is that although I finally got back into the gym and I'm so excited about that, I could not be more sore. Like I'm walking funny. I genuinely like it hurts to sit, hurts to do anything, which obviously is like super discouraging, but it's also like trusting the process, knowing that this is like part of it. But
gotta get back in shape.
It just sucks that like after a month, my body is like, you're weak.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't even do anything crazy in the gym. Like I did like some of my normal movements, but at a, much more controlled and like lighter weight. And so I'm like, I am a weakling. So that's my low, but we're still getting back into it.
It's humbling.
It is. It's a humbling experience. My high is that I finally got some more tattoos.
Yay.
And I'm so in love with them. I'm so happy with how they came out. And I don't know, I just feel like a bad bleep.
You are a bad bleep. And they're really like, I don't know. It's like you went for it, like now, like you're tatted.
I'm officially
like you're tatted now.
I'm officially tatted, guys.
Yeah, like because before it was like all dainty and like not super visible off rip, but
now it is.
Yeah, so I love that for her.
I got 2 pieces on like my collarbone / chest area.
So pretty.
I got a sternum piece that like comes up in between my boobies. And then I got a piece on like an extension of my hand tattoos on my forearm.
So sick. I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I'm super happy with it. All right, guys. Now we're going to briefly get into our deep dive before we get into the rest of this juicy little episode. And so what's your deep dive, brother?
My deep dive is what the brand called avocado.
What? Oh. Daniel, we're leaving this. Full send.
Okay. My deep dive is with a brand called Avocado Mattress. When I moved into the house, I decided to upgrade from a queen to a king, a big girl bed. And
that was elitist of you.
What?
A big girl bed? Queens are big girl beds.
Well, there's
for
bigger.
2 people.
There's bigger. Yeah, for 2 people. Anyways, so I knew I could get one for free because
that's elitist of you. A lot of mattress companies collaborate. It's like a known thing.
I just always see influencers posting mattresses, so I'm like,
you're like, hell yeah.
I'm like, yes, I'm not gonna pay for this. Fuck you, let's go. So I went on a search for good mattresses and I found Avocado Mattress and I had pitched myself to them. Originally, I asked for a lot.
Shoot for the stars.
I asked for pretty much everything I needed, which was like a mattress, a new frame, pillows, like everything. And we went a little bit back and forth and they pretty much put their foot down and was like, yeah, we can only send you the mattress and like some pillows. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And so it was a little bit of like a more negotiation than typical, I think, but it came down to like, they were like, this is what we can offer, take it or leave it. And I was like, I will take it.
Yeah.
So the deliverables were 1 in-feed post, 3 stories, like a 1-story set, and then some content creation photos for them. I believe it was 3. So I figured that's super easy to knock out, shoot it in my home. They do want to see it like bare mattress without any sheets on it or anything. And I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of waiting for the other aspects of my bedroom to come together, like to be fully furnished. So I'm going to shoot that and call it a day. But the mattress I ended up getting was like, it's like $3,200, like a three.
Woo!
Oh yeah, it's like a $3,000 mattress. So I'm so happy with it too. It's so comfortable. I'm really, really happy because it was a bitch, like getting rid of the queen mattress, getting rid of the queen frame, having it in my living
Yeah.
room for weeks. So I'm thankful that I actually do love the mattress and that it's high quality. So that is my deep dive. And that's something
3,200, I'd hope so.
yeah, I know. Crazy. And so like that's a perfect example of something that we would do, as a trade in exchange for product, because it's like if I didn't get that mattress, I would have spent my own money on a mattress.
Exactly.
So in that scenario, it does make sense and it is worth it.
Love that for you.
Okay.
My deep dive is a TikTok with String Decor. String Decor is an underwear brand that we have worked with multiple times. Love it. Love the product. We're gonna do a TikTok for $700. I don't know how I'm gonna do the TikTok yet because it is underwear. So I did let her know like we might have to get creative with it because you can't really post in your undies on TikTok. But yeah, that's the collab, and that should be arriving any day, and I'll be shooting the content. So stay tuned.
So fun. Okay, so right now we're going to take a break before we get into our episode to thank our show sponsor. All right, guys, we want to thank our show sponsor for this week's episode, Banish. I have been absolutely loving their products. They sent like a really dope pumpkin clay mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fire. And a vitamin C moisturizer, which I have been using almost every night. I really love it. Banish is made in small batches with fresh organic ingredients. Their skincare line launched to help people with acne and acne scars. And one of the best things is they have sustainable packaging. Like I thought it was so cute, the packaging it came in. I was actually very impressed by it and I loved it.
Yeah, I have been using the moisturizer because I told you guys last week I would be trying out the products. And you guys can see I don't typically wear makeup if you guys are watching. So you can see from last week my skin has improved. And I'm really excited for it to continue. I've been using the vitamin C moisturizer and I love it. If you guys are interested in using the products, trying them out, we have a discount code for you, which is whiskey. And we will keep you guys posted on our progress.
Yeah, and what I love about the moisturizer is there's no like nastiness after. Like, you know how some moisturizers are super like heavy sometimes?
Like they'll leave you like a
residue or like oily. Like it kind of just really
sinks into the skin.
It absorbs into my skin, and I have been chef's kiss. Loving it.
Love that for you, brother. All right, guys, now we will get into our episode.
All right, so we're gonna get into, what do you think we should start with? Our favorite parts or our least favorite parts? Well, you guys
know, for our highs and lows, we got to start with the low so we end on the high note.
Yes.
So let's start off by bitching. I want to I'm trying to vent right now. I don't want to hear shit from y'all. I just want to vent.
This is a safe space. Sometimes I worry. I'm like, are we just complaining? Like, I hope you guys don't ever hear us and think we're just complaining.
I'm tired of the disclaimers. I just feel like at this point
we are unapologetically whiskey and water.
Well, not even that. I just feel like at this point you guys like know us. Like, I'm sure it's annoying to constantly hear these disclaimers of like, guys, we promise we love our life. We promise we're grateful. We're not bad people. Like, no, we're not bad people.
I feel we're unhinged today, but also we don't know who's new. So like, we don't know where people are starting to listen to our show. Like, if this is their first episode and they're like, wow, these influencers are so fucking ungrateful.
So entitled. She knew she could get a free mattress.
Okay, anyways, I'm sorry for being unhinged today. We're in a silly, goofy mood. So moving on.
It's me and my knife.
Let's start with the worst/hardest things. And I don't want to say worst because it's like no part of being a business owner to me is like miserable. So, there's challenges and there's things that are harder for us to get through, but we see those as a positive thing still at the end of the day because it's an opportunity for growth. So not that they're the worst, but they are the hardest and the most challenging. IMO. Hiring has been the biggest fucking headache. Like, I do not look forward to it at all. Like, don't get me wrong, I look forward to like finding the perfect person to, fit into these positions. And I'm looking forward to like growing and what hiring means. However, the sorting process, like going through the applicants, setting up interviews, conducting the fucking interviews, reviewing their materials after, it is so
draining.
So the actual process of hiring isn't even what I had in mind, although it is hard. And I co-sign everything you say. I feel like the hardest part for me is knowing what to look for almost, and then
Yeah.
hiring someone who you think is perfect for the job and them actually not being actually quite the contrary. So that's the hardest thing, because it's like, we have done our best trying to hire someone who we think is the right fit. Come to find out, like, you really don't, I almost feel like you don't even know how someone's gonna work until they're working, and that's such a scary thing to do.
Yeah. And just given like the experience that we most recently had, like hiring a social media manager, and then we put someone new in this position, like we hired. And now we have a new girl who is honestly a fucking rock star. It's crazy like how stark the difference is, and like just how night and day. And of course, like we had to have that experience to know a little bit more what to look for in this hire, but it really is just insane. And like it's such an investment of like time and money, and like especially in these first few weeks, like the investment of money that you go into like training someone, because like that takes hours on hours and you're not necessarily getting a direct output from it. And I just remember in a previous employee's first week, we spent what we have in like a month on our new employee. And like, that's just crazy. And it sucks because, like we'll never see that again. But again, it's like the experiences that you need to have to just
to learn,
to know what you need out of the position.
Yeah. And even prior to hiring that hire, we had made 2 or 3 offers to other people before someone accepted it. And that was really hard too, because it takes a lot for us to all mutually agree, like, okay, I think this is the person for the job. And then we all put not our eggs in that basket, but like we
get invested.
We all are like, okay, yeah, they're the right person. And then we offer them the position and then they decline it. So that was really hard too, because it was just like an emotional roller coaster. So yeah, definitely hiring. And my best advice for anyone listening is that just expect it to be harder than you think it's going to be. Because one, it's harder to find good help than you think. There's so many things that,
and people are overselling themselves, like I think that was an issue that we encountered just like in the past. And it's like we get it, because it's like,
I get it, hustle,
fake it till you make it, you know what I mean? But like you can't do that when you're like not in the industry to do that. Like you can do that at a corporate job where like your experience isn't necessarily like you're getting a lot of training,
or projects aren't directly relying on you.
Yeah,
like they are not your responsibility.
Yeah, but you can't fake it till you make it with like a small business, and kind of just like
who like needs the experience, needs your expertise more than anything. Because obviously they're like hiring it out for a reason. But yeah, my advice is that it's just gonna be expected to be hard, and when the hardships come with hiring and building a team, just already know that it's going to be there and be like, yep, okay, I knew this was coming. I knew this was going to be hard, because even now, like a year after a lot of hires and a lot of fires, we still feel like it's such a big learning curve for us.
Yeah. And I would also say just expect it to take longer than you expect, because we were like, oh yeah, we can have someone in this position in a week. No fucking shot.
A month.
If not more.
A month, yeah. If not more. I would double whatever you think it's going to take, double it. If not
triple.
Triple it, yeah. So that's one of the hardest things. Firing, secondly, is
oh my God,
definitely a really, really hard, as you guys can imagine. And like, it's so much easier said than done. It's really hard to have that conversation, to feel like you are letting someone down, to feel like you're responsible for someone's livelihood. Like it's just, it's the nature of the business, and it's something every business owner who is building a team has to get comfortable with. But I think it's always going to be hard.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable conversation no matter what. And, you don't want anyone to you don't want to leave a bad taste in anyone's mouth, but, you also have to look out for the best interest of your company.
Yeah, always. Like that is literally what it means to be the owner of a business and the leader and the boss, is that you have to like do those things that are really hard, and like firing is extremely hard. And it's hard when you've like built a relationship too, because in our last instance, like we actually didn't have the chance to spend that much time, you know, with that hire. So it wasn't even really like there was a strong relationship there. But imagine like after a few years, and the hard part is that it's not personal. I think that's the hardest, because you could
Yeah.
love working with someone and you could love their energy and really enjoy their company, and you know, that's an aspect that they bring to the table. But if their work isn't performing and they're not like absolutely killing it in at their job, like that's what you're paying them for. You're not paying them to be like a fun person to hang out with. You're paying them to do fucking great work. And that's the hard part, because you could love them, but if they're not killing it, you got to let them go.
Yeah.
If they're not an asset to growing the company, you have to let them go.
Just got to bite the bullet.
Yeah.
And then on piggybacking on top of that, I would say people quitting is
Oh yeah.
also
That is so
a
hard.
really fucking hard part of the business. Because again,
It's a
not
heartbreak.
it's not personal at
Yeah.
all, but it feels like, yeah, it's like a fucking heartbreak, especially when you like care about the person so much. Like I remember when our first
Project manager.
manager, Caroline, we've talked to you guys about her, when she quit, I literally cried.
Yeah.
I
like on the phone with her.
like on FaceTime, like, or on Zoom or whatever the fuck we were on, immediately started sobbing the minute she told me. And that's because we loved her and we valued her in the position, and it was really difficult, but everything happens for a reason.
It's hard, and we actually talked about this on when that was happening on one of those episodes, because we had such a great conversation like the week before with, I think, Helen, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With the Blender Bombs founder, Helen.
Wasn't it like the same day?
Yeah, it was a crazy coincidence, but we had asked our guest, who is the founder of a great company called Blender Bombs, who's actually one of Mood's clients now. Crazy full circle moment. But we had a really great conversation with her on the episode about, about firing and people quitting. And we kind of like asked her advice on that when someone wants to leave. And she was like, I let them go. I wish the absolute best for them, and I don't take it personally. And we were like, okay, like easier
That's
said
hard,
than
yeah.
done. And then I think we got off that recording, and then we had that call with our project manager, and she left. And like it was such a like crazy coincidence, like line up in the universe, because had we not gotten that advice from someone who was like, had already established with a really successful business, and someone, that we both look up to, I don't know if I would have handled it as well as I did.
Yeah, no, I mean, although we were
so sad,
although I was crying, we were also like laughing, because we were like, the timing of this could not be more insane.
Yeah.
We also had intuition about it,
but we didn't realize it was intuition until it happened.
Exactly. We literally were in a meeting, just Olivia and I, in fucking design district.
Not even a meeting. I think we were just like casually sitting outside.
Yeah. We were
chatting.
like, I think we were doing like some work, and we brought it up. We were like,
this is before we had that episode.
Yeah. And we were like, I hope she like stays, or like we were like,
no, you know what I said? And this is the first time we've ever talked about this in like this 8 months that she was with us. We're sitting outside, and I go, what would we do if she left?
Oh yeah.
And we both were like, we'd be fucked.
My exact words verbatim were, I would jump off a building. Or I said I would jump off my balcony.
Yeah. And a week later, she ended up quitting. And so it was just, and then at that moment, that's why we laughed, because we were like, wait, we literally had intuition about this. That's what that was. So we recognized that in hindsight.
And you know what? Like, although that was so heartbreaking and really hard, like not to take personal, because I think she did a really good job in the moment of like assuring us that it wasn't personal, and she just had to do what was best for herself and her financial situation, and she accepted an amazing position in another city. But I mean, everything really does happen for a reason, because obviously we have our project manager now, Taylor, who is, one, a rock star, but two, it really taught us to value our employees that are rock stars that much more, and make them feel seen, heard, appreciated, valued, the entire fucking thing. And I mean, I think Taylor would tell you guys as well, like, she loves her job. I think she does feel seen. I mean, she posts about it, so like I know she feels seen, and that's just such an amazing feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also it was a great lesson for us to look back on, because in the moment we were like, how are we gonna find someone better? And then Not necessarily, not better.
A better fit.
Not better, but yeah, totally a better fit for us, our personalities in person. Like, there's just so much that Taylor brings to the table, and it was a great learning moment for us, because it's like everything will work itself. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. You will find, another person to fill the role, probably even better, etc., etc. I think another hard thing for me has been kind of needing to be a leader even when I'm not sure how to lead. And it's like you don't really have a choice because you're in this position.
Yeah, I feel that.
And it's like sometimes I don't know what's best and I don't know the answer, but I still need to be, we, of course, but like we still need to be the ones to make the decision and make the best call.
Like,
and it's like
no one's gonna do it for us.
No one's gonna do it for us.
And honestly, that shit is exhausting.
It is.
Like sometimes I just don't wanna lead.
No, majority of what we do on a day-to-day basis is making decisions.
Oh my God.
And that sounds fun. It does. It sounds fun at first to be calling the shots. But it is really, really mentally fatiguing and exhausting, because at the end of the day, I don't even want to decide what's for dinner. I don't want to decide what towel I should use to get out of the shower. Like, I don't want to make any fucking decision about anything. I feel like people don't talk about this enough. I'm glad we're talking about this.
I mean, it's decision fatigue, like you can only make we have an allotted number of decisions that we can make in a day. And I feel like burnout comes from exceeding that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there'll be days where at the end of our workday or at the end of our meeting, we're like asking each other a question about something, about how something should be handled, about what we're going to do for this. And we just look at each other and we're like, I can't. Like, I can't make any more decisions.
And sometimes we'll be like, at this point, I don't care. Like, do we'll whatever.
Wave the white flag. I'm like, your call. I
no.
simply don't care enough to fight for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, well,
that's how a lot of decisions are made. I'm not going to even lie to you guys.
Well, yeah, and that's another hard thing is, I guess this is more relatable if you're like in a partnership with someone, because it's not just your decision. Like, it's the pros and cons of having a partnership and having a business partner is like, the pro is you get a sounding board. The con is it almost takes that much more energy to make a decision, because we have to both decide. Like, we have to both
decide, and you can't like make your own decisions and have it be like a quick thing. Sometimes yes, but
and we spend a lot of energy though, like hearing each other out on why we think this is the best way to do it.
Yeah,
and that's exhausting at times.
It is exhausting, especially when like we're just not seeing eye to eye. But I think it also, more than anything, I think that it assists us in growing that much more.
Totally.
Because imagine having someone constantly arguing their perspective, not even arguing, but like, vouching for their perspective. It really does force you into a new mindset each fucking time.
Yeah, totally. And we're like constantly challenging each other to see things differently from each other's point of view. But it's definitely exhausting.
It's so exhausting.
I hate it here. Okay, moving on. Do we have any like takeaways or advice for that? Being a leader when you're unsure of how to lead.
Everything's figure outable. I'd say like fucking sack up, buckle in, because you signed up for this shit.
And also just know, actually, something I've been carrying a lot with me, and I'm sure you've maybe even noticed this, is when I'm trying to make a decision or I'm feeling like anxiety about something, I always say like, okay, worst case scenario, what is it?
Yeah, I do. I've been doing the same thing.
I say that, and then I realize that worst case scenario
ain't even that bad.
We'll still be okay.
Yeah.
Something may happen from that. We may lose a client, but you know what? We're okay. Like, I feel like there's a lot of anxiety about things.
Impending doom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, we think if a client isn't happy with, this is an example, if a client isn't happy with a reel that we made for them, like subconsciously, I'm like,
I'm gonna
die. Like, that is just our body's reaction to protect ourselves. So that's why I'm like, what's the worst case? They say they don't like it, and then we say sorry. I'm still okay. I'm still alive. I'm still healthy. I still have a bed to sleep in. Like,
exactly.
And that helps me a lot, dude.
Yeah. It helps me with like any time I'm having anxiety ever, except for like when I'm like when it comes from nowhere.
Yeah.
Except for when I'm having super anxiety. But I do feel that.
Something we said yesterday, because it reminded me being a leader when you're unsure of things. We were talking about being a team player, and Jess is like, I'm a team player when I'm the team captain. I thought about that in the shower last night. I was dying laughing. And she's like, wait, this is a harsh realization for me. Because she was like...
No, because I didn't even say it. I was like, I'm a team player. And I was like, most of the time. And then Taylor goes, yeah, when you're the team captain. And I was like, oh my God. You're so right.
It's so funny. I think we could make that merch. I'm a team player when I'm the team captain.
That's hilarious.
Okay, moving on.
I would say that what I struggle with is being a leader and managing like my abrasiveness, because obviously like you don't want to ever be like the fucking Devil Wears Prada fucking boss. Like that's not what I want to be, and I already know how I am, and I'm extremely self-aware. So it's like I don't want to be a mean boss. That's never my intention, but I also don't want to like have to spend extra energy like
beating around the bush,
fluffing, sugarcoating, fluffing shit up. Like
yeah.
I'm making so many decisions already in the day that like I just need to be able to communicate directly. And I'm someone that I can really, really, really say something, get it off my chest, and move exactly on. Like once it's off my chest, I don't need to harbor it. I'm ready to move on. But that doesn't mean that my words aren't going to, weigh on someone.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that
the person perceiving it won't harbor on it.
Exactly. So although I can be like, hey, that was a stupid fucking mistake, and be like, all right, let's not do it again.
Keep moving on.
I don't want them to be like, oh my God, I made a stupid fucking mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard because you almost have to adjust
your communication style.
Your communication, because it's like that's not how everyone perceives things, but that's how you perceive things. So it's almost like you're translating your like energy or like verbiage,
and you want to make it as digestible as possible too, because it's like I also don't want to
miss the point because they're upset at themselves.
Exactly. Like I just want to communicate as effectively, as directly with it being the most digestible as possible.
Yeah, with no like shame or guilt associated to it. That's the thing.
Exactly.
And that's really hard. That's like soft communication skills, and like really just that has a lot to do with like body language, I think, and like even and I think that's a body language thing and an energy thing, because it's like you can say something and say the same exact thing, but it can come off differently depending on the energy you're holding about it and like the body language that you're like,
which is definitely something that I have a problem with, that I try to be aware of, because although I think I can like change my tone a good amount, the energy is there.
I don't know if it's because I
don't know
am
either.
So close with you, and I just can read your energy.
Because sometimes Olivia's like, your energy is reading bad, and I'm like, they can't tell that, and she's like, yes, they can.
Yeah,
but sometimes I genuinely like, it's hard. You don't know what someone else is reading you as. Like I try to adjust as authentically as I can, but I'm also not gonna be like, all right, guys.
Yeah, I think it depends if people are like in tune with energy, I think too, like I don't think it takes being close to a person to be able to feel like a shift.
No, it doesn't, because well, then again, does it just take being an empath? Because we're like going into this tangent, because although I'm not close with some people, I pick up on energy immediately.
Right.
And I can, like, I've been like, that bitch is fake. Guess what? couple weeks later, that bitch is fake.
She turns out fake.
So, and that's not even to be like, I know energy. But
we're energy readers.
We're empaths. But it's just a really hard space to navigate when like you're trying to be authentic to yourself, not burn yourself out, but also be really considerate of other people's feelings. And I think that I really just try to make a lot of disclaimers and be very upfront when we're hiring, and just really not sugarcoat anything from the get, because if they can understand you from like the get, then I think that you're good. Because the closer I get to someone, the more direct and the more myself I'll be. So I feel like if I just start there, that'll be like the standard, and they understand it and they don't take it personally.
Totally. Disclaimers are always a good idea, people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no problem saying exactly what it is. Like I think sometimes we almost like try to water things down in the verbiage, but it's like, why don't we just literally say this? And that's why I
Yeah.
love saying like in full transparency. It's like, don't try
Yeah.
to be transparent. Say, hey, I'm literally being transparent. So then there's no miscommunication. They know what you're trying to do here.
Yeah. And I think that there's power and also like stating that like whatever discussion that you're going into because like you want them there and you want them to grow and be better.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like, hey, I'm not just shitting on you so that I'm here to shit on you. I'm shitting on you because I know you can do better.
Yeah, I think that's actually great advice, just to like in that vein, to preface hard conversations with like your intentions.
Yeah.
And verbally saying, hey, my intentions aren't to get down on you. It's to make you better and to grow with you and have you grow with me.
A little off topic, but I feel like also very, very relevant. I have recently had a situation where I distanced myself from a man because I wasn't feeling it, right? Totally fine. But we had, spent some time together and he was kind of confused as to why it had not worked out. And he had picked up on this like a few months ago after I already distanced myself, and he was like, oh, and he was like, what's good? I see you're distant. And I was like, yeah, just not feeling it, honestly. He's like, all right, totally fine. Totally understand. However, he did not totally understand because he messaged me recently and basically was like, yeah, I've been thinking.
What did I do wrong?
What did I do wrong? Like,
Mommy.
I've been thinking about you, blah, 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 which is all fine and dandy. And I was like, honestly, I have a list of things that weren't for me. If you want, we can get on a call and I can lay them all out for you. And he wanted to get on the call, and because he wanted to grow and he wanted to learn, he wanted to be better, right? So I went through like our entire time spent together and everything that I personally did not like. And honestly, I laid it out for him in a way that was like, listen, I'm not going to look, I don't want any excuses. I don't want any apologies. That's not what this is for. I'm not harboring any of this. It's simply because I think that you're a good person and I think that you could do better. Like, I don't think that you were necessarily aware of these things. And
it's a little bit of ignorance, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's simply just like not knowing.
So I laid this all out for him and he was so appreciative. And I think that, all that to say, like, I think it's really about how you go about it and how you preface it and, not looking for any, validation or anything. Like, I'm just trying to help you out and be a better person, essentially.
Right. Yeah, I love that. So I think another thing for me I know is hard is giving criticism, because I never want to make people feel bad. And as a boss, there are some times where you need to tell people that they could do better. And that's actually a really hard thing for me to do, because I'm just so scared of making anyone feel bad about themselves. Like, I'm actually like, it scares me. It terrifies me. So that's something I'm working on, because I don't think you can avoid it. I think it's just comes with the position.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of like trying to communicate as best as possible. Like we said, like prefacing things like that about, this is for your growth. But like, no matter what, it's still really hard for me. And I think it might always be hard.
And and it's an unfortunate part of the position, but you have to kick people in the ass sometimes. You know, like if they are dropping the ball, it's hard to be like, hey, so no, you've been doing a really good job here. But
at the end of the day, it's your business and you need to make the best decisions for your business.
And you need to hold people accountable. You know what I mean? Like the same way, like you would tell someone in a relationship, like, hey, this behavior wasn't acceptable. You have to be able to do the same thing in a leadership role. Like, hey, this, you completely forgetting to do XYZ was not acceptable. Kind of like, what the fuck? Like, explain yourself, because it's hard. Like, that's such a shitty place to be in. Like, I don't want to do that, but sometimes you need to do that.
You absolutely need to.
I hope it doesn't feel like we're just like fucking venting too much.
Honestly, I feel like this is helpful, because if I didn't have a business, these are the things that I want to know. Like, what should I expect? What's going to be hard? How can I, anticipate these issues that are going to come up naturally? So, I mean, I don't know. As a listener, I think it's pretty good.
It's like the tea on a business.
Yeah, no, it really is. And like, I don't know. You see all these graphics about like, oh, the worst part of being a business owner, the best part. And it's all so nuanced too, and it also depends on the type of business you're running. But I think in general, the things that we're covering can be applied to like so many different types of businesses.
Yeah, and even just like
Life,
honestly.
yeah. I mean, this is a lot of like relationships, communication.
I feel like we should definitely talk about working for free and how that
Yes.
is probably one of the hardest parts about running your own small business.
If you've been here for a while, you've probably heard us say that we actually don't pay ourselves for mood and
Or whiskey and water, but
or
obviously.
whiskey and water. But we are thankful and we have the privilege and the luxury of having, another source of income, which is being full-time influencers, that we don't have to pay ourselves from our small business at the moment. But it is, it is hard because at times I do feel like we're working for free, and it's not for free because it's for like the dream.
An investment.
It's for the dream. It's for, I feel good putting in the work. It's not like I resent it really, but it is hard to look at your work week and see like 40 hours to something that you don't take a dime from. We'll pay ourselves in Starbucks. We'll like fill up a tank of gas here and there. We'll get a lunch. But
You say
really,
that, but we've filled maybe one tank of gas one time.
So that definitely is something to consider. Everyone is different when it comes to how they structure their business and pay and their finances. But for us, we just don't feel like it would be the best
Business decision.
yeah, business decision and like utilization of our capital at the moment. Like our resources need to go back into the business instead of
Yeah.
like paying our bills, which thankfully are already being paid. So it's like it would be amazing, but it's not a necessity. However, we are, like we met with our accountant and our business advisor a few weeks ago, and that was one of our most important questions to bring up to him is like, at what point can we pay ourselves? Because it would be nice.
It would be nice.
It would be nice.
If we could pay like one bill from Mood, that'd be nice.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
I would be happy.
I don't know. And it's hard because it's like, I think people see everything that we have going on and probably are like, oh, they're banking. They got Mood, they got whiskey and water, they got their own things. No, we have our own thing and that's it.
Our two biggest projects, the things that we spend the most time on, actually, we are not personally paying ourselves for.
And also that cuts into like the growth that we could potentially have on our personal platforms and our personal businesses. And like,
Totally.
it's hard
It's
because
a
it's like,
sacrifice that we're making.
it's a financial sacrifice. It's a time sacrifice. It's an energy sacrifice. So it's definitely like the hardest part.
No, it is definitely the hardest part. I'm thankful that we truly love what we do. And I think if we didn't, we couldn't do it because we would be resentful of not taking a dime from anything.
Yeah, like we haven't gotten to that place yet. Where like it's resent.
No, and I honestly don't expect us to ever get there unless we were super burnt out and not able to even like film our personal collaborations, which obviously like we are scaling at a pace that makes sense for us and our lifestyle right now.
But we definitely take on less stuff in general because of it.
Yeah.
Which, which in turn does affect our pockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And hopefully one day, it pays for itself. We're investing in something that's like bigger than us. And I think that is like the why that has to keep you going when you own a business. And, it's not, I don't think anyone starts a business just to like pay their bills. I mean, some people might, but
Yeah.
I think the bigger why and like what gets you through all of the hard shit of being a business owner is like, wanting to build something bigger for yourself and want more for yourself and want, whether it's generational wealth or passive income or whatever it may be. You want more than just like getting by, I would think.
Yeah. You want to be passionate about what you're doing and you want it to be filling your cup so much that the money doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah. So one more thing I want to touch on is something that we have found has been hard for us and our whole team is setting boundaries with clients. And setting boundaries in general is like challenging and not the easiest thing, but especially when it comes to clients, because there is this dynamic of of you wanting to please them. So
the customer is always right.
Yeah. So whether you own a small shop and it's your customers who are leaving bad reviews, or you're an agency and it's a client who wants way more than what they're paying for, it's hard because it's like you want to be easy to work with. You want to be serving them. You want to be supporting them, but you also have to be able to differentiate when, not that they're trying to take advantage of you, but
sometimes they are.
So, you got to look at those boundaries and set them with them, which can be uncomfortable.
Yeah. And you also like don't necessarily know where people are coming from. Like what their intentions are. Because for example, we had a client very, very early days at Mood, one of our first, and he of course had our first rates, and the rates have changed like tenfold since then. Like they've changed so many times.
He had our first rates.
Like
he was for example, our first clients.
For example, he got our like initial starter image pack at like $600. He recently reached out and was like, "Hey guys, I want to shoot my new collection. Let me know." We sent over our rates. We're like, "Hey, would love to work with you on this. Here are our rates. Let us know what you want to do." He sent us back our original media kit, which, by the way, this was over a year ago that we shot this, and was like, "Hey, I'm actually interested in doing your original starter pack. Just that. Thanks." And we were like, "Are you fucking stupid?
That's not an option, buddy."
And like, we have the disclaimer that
rates are subject to change.
Yes, we have that. So it's like, it's not like he wasn't aware. And it's also, I mean, it's just ridiculous. So it's like, we don't know if he's just, and not to be brash, but we just don't know if he's like stupid and like, or if he's being an asshole.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard because then we have to like change our response based on that. Because if he's being stupid, we got to be nice. And we have to be like, "Hey, actually, that's not how it works." Whatever. Mansplain it to him. But if he's being an asshole, we want to be like, "Hey, you're also a business owner and like you're trying to undervalue our work when we obviously didn't realize that we were undervaluing our work. And like, we're not just going to give this to you because you got it over a year ago."
And like, we were naive.
Yeah.
And didn't know our value.
So being able to just understand where people are coming from and kind of change your response based on that has been such a difficult like thing to overcome. And we continue to, I don't think it's an issue that'll ever necessarily go away. We might just get a little bit better at it.
Yeah. And there's even been scenarios where, we have agreed to do a campaign. I'm thinking of one, for example, where, we said we would shoot, I think like 20 products, right? And we have a product minimum because it's like the more product, the more photos. And then we end up like, we have
a product maximum.
Maximum. That's what I meant. And I think we were a week out from our shoot, right? Like we were almost like about to do it. And they're like, "Hey, here's the final product list." It was like 50 products.
Yes, dude.
And we were like, I think there was a misunderstanding. Then there was a lot of back and forth, this and that. And we ultimately had to tell them we're not the people for the job, which is a hard thing to say, especially when you're starting out, because it's like you don't want to turn down work. You don't want to say no to money, but you also have to know your boundaries and like what is worth it for you to take on and what isn't, and know your value of the service or the product that you are providing people.
Yeah. And some people also want you to work on like their terms. Like, so a common thing for some people in the industry is that they pay per photo, right? And that's fine because that works for some people.
Or they pay per hour.
Yeah, any way, shape, or form. That's not how our agency works, because
we don't work per photo or per hour.
No, we work on packages.
We work per package.
So, and that's because we're kind of like a one-stop shop, right? So, we pay for the models, we pay for the locations, we handle all styling, all props, everything, all-encompassing photo shoot. So for them to pay $3 per photo, it's like, well, we're already like doing all the work, whatever. So that's not even the point. But the point is like, even with that same company, like they reached out and they were like, "Hey, how about we work on this type of basis?" And we like kind of tried to do that. And then we were like, "No, fuck this. We shouldn't be changing the way we're working just so that we can make a few bucks, because like this isn't how we work. It doesn't resonate with us, and we had to tell them that.
Yeah, and it was a great learning moment. No losses, just lessons. It was a great, as hard as it was to have that conversation, ultimately be like, on both sides, I apologize for the waste of time that we are just now realizing it's not a good fit. Like, after we're so far along in the planning process. However, what we learned from that is that lesson of we should have never tried to conform to their way of working in the first place, because we had a meeting with them and they asked us, oh, could you do it on this? And we looked at each other and we're like, yeah, we could do that. And that was us trying to be, easy to work with, moldable.
But that is a company that I will say, like, I'm really glad that we never worked with, because
for sure.
They were 100% trying to take advantage.
Yeah. My point being is that we had looked back and said, oh, remember when we looked at each other and said, should we change our boundaries to, try to work with them?
Try to please someone else?
Yeah. And then in hindsight, we were like, well, no, we should have never agreed to that in the first place. And that's on us. So that was a great learning lesson for us.
Yeah. And I'm so glad we never did that.
100%.
So I feel like this episode, we had a lot more to say than anticipated.
Than we thought.
So not to be those bitches, but go to next week for part 2.
Yeah,
No.
we decided we are actually, throughout this episode, we decided we're just going to do the surprises along the way and the best parts of being a business owner for next week. We'll save it for next week because there really is so much to dive into.
There's even way more highs than there are lows.
Yeah, that's our longer list. And I feel like it's super valuable for you guys, for anyone wanting to either start a business or already owning a business and need some encouragement, to listen to a full episode of why we love being business owners.
Yeah. And I mean, it's either 2-hour episode or 2 1-hour episodes, and we just feel like that's better.
So yeah, we're gonna give that to you next week. We do want to wrap up this episode. We have been bad about it lately. We're forgetting our segments, but we do want to wrap it up with our moment of gratitude. Do you want to go first?
No.
Okay. So my moment of gratitude is the hammock that I just bought on Amazon. And I laid in it this morning and just felt the sun on my skin, and it just felt so great laying in my backyard on a hammock, soaking up the sun.
I love that for you. I'm so excited for your housewarming.
Me too. Oh, I'm having a housewarming, you guys.
We'll tell you about it next week.
Yeah, we'll save it for next week. Okay, what's your moment of gratitude?
I would say that my moment of gratitude is honestly just my community, like my friends and like my family, just like the people, my network. And I really just love how dope everyone is in our life. You know what I mean? And it's just cool because they bring you such amazing opportunities and just incredible experiences. We're about to go to Costa Rica with all of our friends.
Oh my God. Yeah, duh. That's a high. We're going to Costa Rica this week,
which we'll tell you guys about next week because we're going to film right after we get back. But I'm really grateful for just my network and my friends and just how much opportunity is out there and how much life there is to be lived.
Oh, purr. Guys, take this moment, whether you're driving, riding a bike, skating.
Who's doing all this? Y'all got time for that?
Rollerblading, washing the dishes, doing chores, whatever you're doing laundry. Take a moment and say something that you are grateful for in this moment, in this day, in this week, whatever it may be. It could be super small or something that's huge, but it's always important to see your life in abundance and appreciate everything.
Hell yeah, brothers.
Okay.
If you guys liked this episode, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram story, tag your brothers, and we will always repost. We appreciate you guys always. And we will see you next week for part 2. Part 2.
Bye.